Good afternoon, sir, madam. I am Wong Patrick. Today, I want to introduce the characteristics on composing technique and the stylistic characteristics of Schubert's impromptu in B-flat major. So, this is the content page of my lecture recital. For the acknowledgement, I would like to thank Dr. Law here for insisting me in finishing this lecture recital. She has taught me many skills, such as the context and basic elements of the lecture recital, and the researching skill of a typical musician. Without her help, I think I would not finish this project smoothly and successfully. Also, I would like to thank my private piano teacher and my school theory teacher who have taught theory lessons to me. Since I have learned some basic music theory from their class, I can analyze the piece which I will talk later successfully and in detail. Last but not least, I would thank the support of my family members. During the hard time when I was finishing my honor project, they have given me mental support and some research guidelines. It is a big motivation when I was doing the project. For the composer's background, Franz Schubert, a composer born in 31st January 1797 in Hammerfogland, Austria. He was famous for his composition of both the classical and romantic pieces. He died in 1828 in Vienna, Austria. During his early ages, he has shown off his talents in music. He can play violin, piano, and organ at the same time. In his childhood, Schubert was enrolled at the Staatskirche, which was trained as a vocalist in the chapel. Stated in a journal, Franz Schubert, Austrian composer, born Moritz, JE 2020. But then, his voice suddenly broke down, so he turned to become a composer later on. By 1814, he started to compose some repertoire for singers, as well as for the orchestra and some string quartet. For the famous pieces composed by him, the representatives are the Lieder, Gretchen and Spanade, and Exquisite respectively. In the late periods of his life, he got syphilis. It leads to a difficult time in his life. Although he was undergoing the difficulty, he still composed many well-known repertoires. The well-known one is the 8th Symphony. For the background of the piece, one of the piano impromptu composed by Franz Schubert would be introduced in this lecture recital. To define what impromptu is, with reference to the online dictionary vocabulary.com, is stated, impromptu is a short musical passage that seems to make immediately without advanced preparation. The impromptu which will be introduced in this lecture recital is Opus 142, No. 3, in B-flat major composed by Franz Schubert. It is an impromptu out of the 4 impromptus in the Bach 2 series. Schubert tried to express his emotion, and the feeling towards the unhappiness happened in his life, and his fear towards his death, through composing this piano impromptu. Through my journal of this lecture recital, the context and stylistic characteristics of the Schubert impromptu in B-flat major would be discussed, as well as the similarities between different Schubert piano impromptus and the differences between Schubert impromptu No. 3 and his earlier works would be stated in the journal. For the analysis, the impromptu begins in a B-flat major key. There are several variations in the impromptu. The music of Schubert is composed based on the poem or some literature works. It is a new thought at that time. The music of Schubert is lyrical and with a steady tempo. As Franz Schubert was a neoclassicist, his music has a classical stylistic structure and classical chord progression, with some romantic characteristics could be found there, such as emotional musical passages and some rubato. In this research essay, the features of lyrical melody, neoclassicism, and the major-minor mode composing method of his work would be discussed. Also, with the context of the music piece will be shown in the following pages. For Variation 1, Schubert composed the right-hand melody to be a lyrical one, while the left-hand accompaniment is just like an alphabet bass, which is a classical, mostly used accompaniment piano pattern. There is a happy melody composed in B-flat major with a left-hand accompaniment at the beginning, and it is repeated with a doubling of the right-hand part in the second time. Let me show this to you. And then, for the second part of the Variation 1, the second part entered into the key of D major, with heavy chords being played by a pianist. And after the playing of a short transition, the variation returns to the opening theme again, and ends in a dynamic of pianissimo. For the Variation 1, the variation is begun in B-flat major 2. The lyrical melody appears on the top 1 note and 4th note of the right-hand turning part. As stated in a journal Ham Ian 2005, it states, the right hand plays a lyrical melody and part of the accompaniment underneath, which provides harmonic figuration similar to Mendelssohn's Lieder on forte. The left-hand accompaniment has a feature of romanticism, just like a waltz-like accompaniment of Chopin. The tempo in this variation is set in legato. The right-hand part is composed with an upper melody with a continuous arpeggios with return. The top note of the right-hand melody of the returning arpeggios is the main melody out of the variation. In the middle part of this variation, the key is modulated to the G major. A passage full of tension begins. The left hand is a contrapuntal section. The variation is ended in the key of B flat major finally. This variation has the features of the Romantic period music, which is there is an emotional and expressive feeling in the variation, while Schubert composed this piece with the classical period style, which is the steady tempo and with the use of the traditional harmony. For variation 2, there is also a lyrical line existed in the right-hand part of variation 2, which is a feature of romantic lieder, while left-hand accompaniment is just like waltz rhythmic pattern. The beginning part of the variation is composed in B flat major. The dynamic is in pianissimo. The right-hand melody is cadenza-like. The left-hand part is a chord progressions with a dance-like pattern, which is very lively. The right hand of the middle part is composed with a heavy chord pattern, while the left hand part is a fast flowing melody, which is a divided octave. It tends to be descending first and then back to the ascending direction. The dynamic of this part is forte, which is full of tension and vigorous passage. The end of this piece is similar. The end of the piece is similar to the beginning of the variation. Right hand is a fast and virtuosic melody, while the left hand part is a dance-like chord progression pattern. For variation 3, the variation is begun in B flat minor, which has a contrary parallel key to the B flat major in the opening theme. In the first section of the variation, the right hand piano part was composed in a doubling octave, and it is lyrical on the top note of the chorus, while the left hand piano part was composed with a serial chord combined with triplets. The right hand melody is lyrical and has a feeling of sadness. The heavy left hand accompaniment makes the emotions of this musical passage even more upset. And also, Franz Schubert has employed many traditional melody in this variation. Mostly the chord is 1 minor, 3 major, 4th diminished, and 4th minor. Also, as stated in an online journal, Schubert's final year, McAfee, James, 2014. Schubert has suffered from uncertain health since contracting syphilis from winter of 1822 and 23. So, in the variation 3 and 4, the mood of both the variation is upset. In the middle of the section, it enters a forte passage. There is a D-flat major sentence which has an ascending right-hand octave melody, tends to be an antecedent of the music. Then, the music enters into F major key. It is the consequence of the musical line. It seems that the music is resolved. At the end of this music line, there is a 3/7 chord and 7/1 suspension. It means the music is resolved here and try to pave the way for a later musical passage. The end of the variation 3 is similar to the beginning one, with a climax happened at the beginning first, and then to a quieter place and end in a tonic key. For variation 4, the variation begins with a right-hand arpeggio bass-like accompaniment, with a left-hand lyrical melody. Then, right-hand piano part becomes the melodic part, while left-hand part changes to accompaniment. In the middle section, there is a vigorous section on the left-hand piano part, but melody has a large step descending octave occurred in it. music returns to the A section again. For Variation 5, this variation returns to the key B flat major, which is the original key of this piano impromptu. The music begins with a right hand fast-flowing lyrical melody, which is combined with a triplet pattern. The right hand is a lyrical melodic line, while left hand has a romantic waltz-like dancing pattern. In the middle section, the right hand piano part is a waltz-like chordal piano accompaniment, while the left hand part is a cadenza section. Then, the music returns to A section again, which is in the key of B flat major. And after undergoing a right hand cadenza section, the whole music ends in several B flat major chords. Also, as stated in a journal, Coherence and Diversity in Schubert's Piano Impromptu D935, Song Yong-ye 2012. Schubert likes to blend dance music and church music in his musical work. So, in the following musical script, a stately and lyrical music extract would be displayed. As it can be seen, Franz Schubert has used lyrical melody to compose his piano impromptu in B flat major throughout the 5 variations of the piano work. A neoclassicism feature can also be observed, since there are the use of major, minor, and diminished chords to compose the piece. Also, the major-minor mode of this piece can be observed. The opening theme is in B flat major. Variation 3 is in B flat minor, while the last variation returns to B flat major, which is a composing technique firstly used by Schubert, and it can be mostly found in his piano impromptu work. Lastly, some romantic feature can be found in this music piece too. They are the emotional melody of this piece and the waltz dancing rhythmic pattern of the left hand. They are the characteristics and stylistic feature of Schubert's piano impromptu in B flat major No. 3. So, In the following paragraphs, I will introduce the analysis of the stylistic characteristics and the form structure of Schubert's impromptu No. 1. As it can be seen, the impromptu begins with right-hand lyrical melody with dotted rhythmic pattern, with the left-hand chordal accompaniment happened here. Then, the music enters a fast-flowing right-hand part. There is a right-hand chord-like accompaniment and left-hand simple melody. The end section is similar to the beginning. As you can see, the impromptu No. 1 of Schubert has just a chordal-like melody and some fast-flowing passage, but Schubert's impromptu No. 3 has 5 lyrical melodies included in it. Schubert's impromptu No. 1 has a rounded binary A-B-A-B form structure with A-flat and F minor key, while Schubert's impromptu No. 3 has 5 variations which includes in it. Schubert's piano impromptu No. 1 and No. 2 have a top-note melody with chords in its context, while their forms are usually rounded A-B binary form. But in impromptu No. 3, Schubert has used a lyrical melody to compose it and used a variation format. Meanwhile, he used a major-minor mode to compose piano impromptu in B-flat major as well. It means the piece is started in B-flat major in the main theme, and turns to B-flat minor in variation 3, and returns to B-flat major in variation 5 finally. It is a new form of composing with keys at that time. So, the aforementioned characteristics are the unique part of the B-flat major impromptu only itself. So, for the encountered performance difficulty. For the left hand, it is a large octave step needs to be played. The performer can first practice the broken octave by a slow speed first, and accuracy, and then play with a fast tempo. The problem can then be solved. I will play the left hand with a slow speed first. And with a fast speed. Also, When playing the broken octave, the left hand can do a wand motion. It makes the playing can be smoother and easier, just like this. For the following two musical scripts, the triplets are difficult to play. The performer can nurture the tempo sense first and play the melody with a slow speed. Then add up the speed and play fluently. Then the problem can be solved. I will play the first quarter of the right hand with fast speed first, with slow speed first. And add up the speed for the fluency. For the composing technique of the Schubert impromptu in B-flat major, firstly, the whole piece is composed based on ABA form structure. Throughout the 5 variations are composed based on this musical pattern. There is A section first, then enter a transition B section, then back to A section. Secondly, variation 4 has the use of sequence. There is left hand melody first, then right hand simple melody, then left hand melody, finally right hand octave melody. For the performing tips, firstly, in the variation 1, right hand part can be played by wand motion. It makes the playing of the section better, just like this. Can do a wand motion of the right hand. Secondly, in variation 3, the chords played in variation 3 can be played by lateral body weight. The shoulder of the performer can relax first, then play by putting off the chords by lateral body weight. It makes the sound quality better, just like this. By putting off the lateral body weight and relax the shoulder. Putting off the chords. So lastly, for the conclusion, Schubert has implied both the classical and romantic composing and musical technique in his piano variation of B-flat major. It is a groundbreaking and new idea of the Romantic music period at that time. Schubert used a lyrical melody and variation form to compose this music piece, and it is different but a bit similar to the musical style of Schubert's teacher Ludwig von Beethoven. There are the similarities of an emotional music theme and the use of traditional classical harmony. For the difference, it is a major minor mode of this piece, and it is a variation piece which is different from the sonata form structure of Beethoven's work and Schubert's previous piano work. This piano work has its uniqueness and his own stylistic characteristics. Furthermore, I hope the lecture recital done this time can further the development of the music analytical essay. And this lecture recital project can be an example of the analytical essay of romantic music from now on. This is the end of my lecture recital. Thank you for listening.